Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Bear Experiment podcast. I'm your host, Monica Clavijo, and today we're diving deep into the spiritual realm with intuitive reader, psychic, and mystic India Leigh. She's here to help you connect with your spirit guides, understand divine timing, and unlock the power of your intuition to align with your soul's purpose. If you're ready to clear your energy and quiet the noise and trust the flow of life, this episode is for you. But first, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so that you never miss an amazing episode with all of these amazing guests that are coming on the show. So if you're ready to elevate your mind, your body, and your soul, this is the episode to watch. Now let's dive in.
There were many things that were being moved around, and
Yes. And it's so funny because at the very last minute, our regional, president, I work for a radio station, and she was like, "Okay, we're all gonna go out, to, grab some drinks and just hang out and talk." And it was just like, okay, I can't say no to her. I'm not gonna lie to you because then you're
right.
gonna know I'm lying. So I was just like, just come out with the truth. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. If I'm meant to talk to India, it'll happen either later that day or sometime this week. So I'm
And it
glad
was
that it worked out
perfect.
today. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it. I'm enjoying, watching your content and I do enjoy tarot very much and spiritual readings. I believe in it. I do believe that many people are gifted and are able to help us based on our energy, kind of the direction to go in. So it's always good to talk to different people and aspects of the way that you kind of visualize everything. Because there's also so many scammers out there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's very concerning. I actually had a girlfriend who was asking me to go. She's going through some stuff, and she was asking about David. And I said, listen, I haven't had a reading with him, but I loved his energy. And I go, but why don't you wait to see India? She's coming on this week. She
Aw.
also does the same thing and base it off of, whatever you're feeling with each of
Whatever
them.
you're feeling. And that really is the key. I'm glad you're if I want to throw this into the interview, should I do it now or wait?
No,
Because
no,
I
go
know
ahead. We're
good.
recording. Yeah, we're recording.
Good. This is a an aspect of receiving readings that I've really been meaning to address. So, as we move into this time where many of us are coming into a deeper connection with our higher knowing, many of us are learning how and feeling comfortable with playing with tarot cards, pendulums, maybe even connecting with people on the other side. People are testing out their gifts. People are coming into them. And so it's like with anything, when you've got sort of a lot of something happening all at once, it is important for you to know that not everything's going to be the same integrity, the same quality. And I had someone in a reading the other day receive her message, which was very much for her growth and for her personal development, which is how the guides that work with me always skew the readings to be. This is how the energies are helping you. This is how this is assisting you in exploring more deeply what you need to know.
Right.
And that's not how every psychic or reader works. So this client was saying, "Oh, wow, that's so different from what I just received from a psychic who told me to just hire a private investigator and, investigate my ex," which
Yeah.
was absolutely not what the reading I was getting for her was saying. And so we got into this discussion, and it's really important to understand that when we're reading energies, any way that we're reading them, what we're doing is we are reading into both what our higher guidance and our guides have to say, as well as what our energy trajectory is lending itself toward. So at any moment, we are sort of like, remember when we used to diagram sentences and you'd have like a line coming off the sentence, and then, so if you look at that as where we are in this point in time, the lines coming off of us are possible realities that we could go into based on our free will decisions because we always have that gift of free will as human beings. So it's all about what we're aligning with and what we decide. So whenever I do a reading, and I know that there are many readers who practice this, I always set the intention to be for the highest reality, the highest good, and the greatest alignment with purpose for the person receiving the messages. That's a lot different. That's going to get you a lot different outcome than if you're just show me energetically, all the possibilities that could
Right.
happen based on everything. If a reader is tapping into just whatever's there, maybe that reader was tapping into a lot of murky, mysterious stuff. So she was like, you should investigate this. But is that really in the highest and greatest good? That was going to drive this particular client crazy, and
Right.
she had a very strong emotional reaction. So that's the other piece. One piece is set your intention before you do or receive any reading. That these messages are for my greatest good, highest purpose, and for my highest possible outcome from the view of spirit, because our view is so limited here on earth. And next, you want to make sure you pay attention to how does it actually feel when I hear that message? Does it feel challenging in a way of like, well, it's challenging, but I know I need to grow in this area. I know it's right. Or does it feel challenging like that is not what I want to hear? I want to run away. That's probably not your message because your message is not going to sound scary if it's coming from the highest alignment.
Are you able to feel with all of your senses when you do communicate?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So
Yeah.
so let's start. Let's backtrack a little bit. So when did you first realize that you had these psychic and intuitive gifts?
Okay. Well, if I go way, way back, I know I was an 8-year-old who was checking out the book on what we used to call ESP, extrasensory perception, from
At
the
eight?
library at
At
8.
8 years old?
Yeah, like over and over and over again, I would check out that book and just pour over, telepathy and clairvoyance and just be like, whoa, this is so amazing, and felt a resonance with it. And then later in high school and college, I would play with tarot cards, but I'd always go like, ooh, this is complicated. I don't think I want to learn this right now and put it
Hmm.
away. And then, of course, every one of us gets distracted with our own uh, sort of ego path
Right.
of, yeah, what am I supposed to do in this world? Oh, I guess I'm supposed to do this and that. And then we kind of have to almost get away from our those gifts because it's just a bit too much to try to
Well,
live a young human life and then do that.
and it certainly there's an aspect of taboo associated with that, especially at a younger age in high school, where
Oh,
the
yeah.
kids are, constantly, judging you, right, and bullying
Oh,
you.
you're weird, you're goth, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. At that
Oh,
point, you're just,
definitely.
yeah, yeah. So you,
Especially this was back in the 90s and 80s. So it's like, yeah, really not like it is now where you can go to any Barnes and Noble and get any deck you want. It was like you had to go to the strangest, seediest little, mystical shops to get what you needed. So, so yeah, that definitely was backburnered for a while in favor of a writing career, a journalism career, editing, doing newspapers back when they were really a thing, and magazines. And then when I turned 40, I became a late in life mother. And so my career sort of concluded in journalism. And motherhood for me, later in life motherhood really was a psychic opener because not only is my child super high vibrational, I mean, children who are born in this generation, it's like, wow, they are just special little beings. So they
like
will,
like like star seeds almost,
yeah,
right? Like they're just
yeah,
coming in at a different vibration, at a different frequency. They're
absolutely.
they're younger than us, but they're really older than us,
So
right?
much so.
So much more advanced.
And they're a more concentrated percentage, if you will, of higher frequency energy.
Mm-hmm.
So, whereas some of us born, I was born in the 70s, you're born maybe if you're born in the 80s or 90s, you have different densities of physical energy versus spirit energy. And of course, that could change with your life.
And why is that though? Is it
Yeah.
because that's just the energy of the planet at that moment that you come into it?
Human evolution, yes.
Really?
Well, yes, because when you look at our planet as a whole, and I highly recommend the author Gary Zukov, he's been writing about this for years and years. He writes about the evolution of our planet as a whole and the evolution of us as sort of a a spiritual species,
Mm-hmm.
and that it is like school. And, we level up and we have, just like when we look at school now, the young kids are learning stuff we weren't learning till junior high when they're in elementary school. It's very similar with spirit energy. They're born and they already are aware that, wow, I can feel things on other planes of reality. I'm super empathic. They just know it. They don't know what to call it, but they know they feel it. It's like being
Mm-hmm.
born with a sense that we weren't born with, or if we were, it was very, very covered up.
Right.
And, and so when he was born, he became my little guide, even from newborn. And I
I
just knew,
love that.
I was like, something is shifting. And of course, back then it didn't look so pretty. It looked like I have a lot of anxiety and I'm pulling out my hair and things are changing so much. So I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna do self-hypnosis. I'm gonna pray. And when I did those things, that was connecting me. And I was so sort of blasted wide open spiritually, and emotionally and in every way, mentally. So all the guidance could just come in. I felt tingles in my body. I felt messages come through for the other moms that I was hanging out with, and we were playing with, play groups and stuff. I'd be like, can I give you a message? And they were like, sure, I'm kind of stuck here on this play date with you, so I guess so. And that's where I got my practice with cards and reading and giving messages. And that was about 10, 11 years ago now.
I
So
love it. It's so interesting because I had my daughter. I have one daughter, and I was 33. And I really wasn't like one of these women that was like, oh, I want to have, 20 kids and be a mother. Like it just wasn't my thing. I was more career driven, right? And about, making money moves. I don't know. It was just like my thing. Now, when I had her, it was such a profound connection because I wasn't expecting it. I remember that there was a moment when they put her in front of me. We made this eye contact, India, and it was like the world. I don't know how to describe it. I was in another planet. I was like in another galaxy with the way that our eyes connected, and everything else did not exist but
yeah,
her and I. It was
yeah.
such a, I'm telling you this and I have goosebumps. It was such a profound experience for me that I always say, like, there's been two, and that it was that moment, that connection. I feel like I met God in my daughter,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah, yes. And in essence, you did because, you know, these children are so connected
Hmm.
with universal energy. And of course, they're going to have a filter like all humans when they get going and get in the world. And, but it will not be as thick as ours had to be. And they are so connected that with that awareness that we've grown to have, it is otherworldly to
Yeah.
connect with them, and it is connecting with source, and it's just amazing. Yeah.
So was there a specific moment in your awakening where you could say like, okay, I'm confirming it, like I have the gift, like
Yeah, and it's a
I'm in the
funny
right
thing.
direction here.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So at this time, I have a little baby. I'm like kind of struggling to find my, I just feel like a big old mess. And at that time, I was doing everything in the book to try to connect with some part of me that I don't know. So I went to pole dancing classes. I did all kinds of things. And I didn't realize because I was also
You were trying to feel like a woman again.
I was trying to feel like a human again, but
Yeah.
definitely yes, a woman would be nice too. And so that was really, just I was just guided to do all these different things. And then at the same time, I was breastfeeding. So I was just like, my whole body was just wacky and I probably wasn't eating very well. And I was all out of balance. And so I remember coming back from a pole dancing class feeling really woozy, but I was like, I'll just be fine. Well, middle of the night, I get up, I'm not fine. I pass out, which I've never ever passed out in my life.
Oh wow.
And I woke up and I had hit the floor right in the middle, like in my forehead, right sort of above my eyebrows, just that what
Almost
an
like in your pineal gland.
right. But I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple days later, I was already feeling things coming through. So I went to a psychic that I had heard about who happened to be nearby, and all these things aligned for me to go see him. And as I was sitting with him in his living room, he just said, well, your guides are telling me right away that they had to kind of knock your third eye open to because it had a lot of crust on it, a lot of things that had built up. They had to really knock it off, and he was showing me like with a hammer. And I was like, oh yeah, that happened night before last when I fell and hit it. And he goes, yep, that's exactly what it was. Is that so that's when I learned like, wow, not only am I receiving this stuff, but my guides are doing things and this person can perceive it because there was no mark, there was no way for him to know that it happened.
Hmm.
And it was just like, this is mind blowing. And then around that time, I was playing with my first Oracle deck, which was an Archangel deck. And I was just shuffling through it, just, doing what I'd seen the readers do on YouTube. And I said, what do I need? What do I need to do? Because I was just feeling very stuck with some matter. And this card came out that was Archangel Uriel, and it said, you know what to do. And I was like, well, no, I do not. And I
I
put
do
it back
not.
in. Thank you, but no. Put it back in, shuffled some more, and that same card came out again. You know what to do. And I was like, this is interesting. And I put it back in, and I kept shuffling and pulling. And that same exact card came out with no other card coming out of a 44 card deck, probably 7 times in a row
No.
until I was shaking, crying, and saying, how are you doing this? How are you doing this to my guides, to whoever? And later now that I've been a professional card reader for 10 years, I'm like, oh, you know what to do. Like pull cards, you're doing it. And it was just sometimes the guides are very literal, like, you're doing it, you're on the right track. And we're just looking for a much more complex, nuance.
Or we're looking for a different answer,
A
right?
different answer,
Yeah.
yes. So much of it is learning how to speak the language that our guides are speaking, as opposed to what we are sort of looking at things for. And to know that their perspective is so different. Like they were
Right.
looking at me going, you got it. And I was like, I don't got it,
Right.
Yeah, you do.
So this is great because that's my next question. So how can we better connect and communicate with our spirit guides?
Yes. The number one first thing to start doing is just start talking to them. It doesn't matter that you don't know their names. It doesn't matter that you don't know what they look like. It doesn't matter you don't know how many you're talking to. Just start talking. So you can, we did it when we were kids. We
Right.
might not have.
Imaginary friends.
Yes, and just talking to the air and the birds and just do it. So, just like it's okay for us to do it to like our dog, but then we get all strange when we're doing it with spirit
Yeah.
So just start talking, just say, hey guides, I need help. I know that you're here. Please let me know you're here. You can ask for signs.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen in that instant. It's not like, okay, move that lamp over there if you're here. You can't do that. But just say, I know you're here. Please give me a clear, unmistakable sign sometime in the next couple days that I will recognize. They'll
So,
totally.
so I've read with so many different spiritual mystics that when you ask for a sign, you should see it within, 24 hours, 48 hours. Is there a time frame,
You can ask for that. I mean, I have found that they are not going to let you hang out for very long if you're asking. I have found that the only reason you would see a like no sign is if you have a lot of mental blockages going on. And in that case, like, if you've said, okay, please send me a sign you're with me, or please send me a sign if this is what you're guiding me to do or not do. And if you don't, and you can say, please send it within the next couple of days, and just make it something unmistakable. I wouldn't say make it a blue car or this or that. I'd say make it something unmistakable
Mhm.
that I'll know. When you ask that, it's important to stay open and just sort of, sort of take it as fact that they will send it. But if you've gone a few days and you're like, I never saw that sign, tell them that too. Say, okay, I feel like I haven't gotten a sign. Now that can mean that they're going, no, I actually don't want you to do that thing, so I'm not
Right.
saying anything. Or it can mean, well, you just aren't seeing it because you're blocked.
Mhm.
So then I like to say, please help me. Please give me the eyes to see and the ears to hear what you're saying. Because I got tingles on that. So that's really important. Yeah, when I get tingles, when I say something and then I feel tingles in my body, it's just like a little zap, like if I stuck my finger in a light socket.
Almost like goosebumps on your body. That's what you feel.
Yeah, but it's
What about your ear ringing?
I do get that. Yeah, it's a little more electrical feeling than goosebumps. Goosebumps can feel like a breeze, but this feels like
Mhm.
a little zing.
Yeah.
And when I said, give me the eyes and ears, they zinged me because that's very important. Sometimes we think we're like, I have been, and and that frustration is human to be like, I've been asking and I'm not getting anything.
Yeah, you get frustrated. You're
Right.
impatient, right? We want immediate gratification.
Or sometimes we're like, well, I did ask and then I did the thing and then this bad thing happened and we just aren't quite putting it together. So when you feel that, it's really, really important to say, please show me, help me to receive the signs and guidance because we put way too much pressure on ourselves to
Yeah.
figure it all out. Nowhere in that whole journey that I was describing did I go, I'm going to, set about receiving things. It just was unfolding and I was asking for help. I happen to be really skilled at asking for help. Like I'm a person who's like, yes, please help. I want guidance. Right. But if you're a person who's like, I don't like to ask for help and I don't like to ask for guidance and I like to just know everything, it's probably going to be harder,
Yeah. You
honestly.
have to be open to receiving the answers.
Right.
Um, how do you remember the signs if you're constantly communicating? Do you write them down? Do you journal? Do you put them on your phone? Like, what's a good technique that you can share with us?
Journaling them is a great idea. What I like to do is in the morning, and you're giving me a nice reminder to start doing this again consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I'm guilty of just doing it in my head, but it is a great idea to write it down. In the morning, I like to say, okay, guides, please align me with the highest possible reality for this day. Thank you for orchestrating every interaction. Thank you for, coordinating everything that you're coordinating for these things I'm manifesting for my greatest good. And I know they're coming in ways that I couldn't imagine. Thank you for all that. And please send me the signs. Then at the end of the day, I like to go, okay, today this is what happened. And you can, just write down the things that felt like they were in alignment with those things. It doesn't have to be like, this is the exact sign they sent me, but just sort of like, you know, I had set my intention to get out there and explore more things. And this is what I got to explore today. And I felt like it was a gift. And, just sort of confirm for yourself that this happened. I'm
Yeah.
on the right track. But it's also important to share the frustrations, with yourself and with your guides to say, man, today was really hard for these reasons. And I feel lost or I feel stuck or I feel frustrated. Do not try to hide that stuff from your higher guidance because they know it all anyway.
Yeah.
And you're only hiding their solutions from yourself. Because when you put that barrier up of, oh, I don't want to say that I'm actually mad at my guides or whatever it is, or I feel, defeated, yeah, say it. They can take it and just also say, so please help me
Right.
because they're always trying to help you. Everything's always happening
They're
for you.
they're here for our greater good and to guide us in the path of least resistance for us, right? Like that's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to remember that we are humans who are, because some people, when we talk about guides and the universe, people are like, oh, that's so precious. You think the whole universe is, doing things for you. Well, actually, yes, because that universe, that higher knowing, um, the guides, God, however you think of it, is so in tune with every detail of the creation of the planet and every single aspect of it. It's way beyond our ability to fathom. So when you look at the little details of your life and go, so spirit actually cares if this happens or that? Yes, because from the point of view of spirit, the point is to be able to express and experience every possibility on this planet and to evolve all of that to the highest possible outcome. So that's why, when you sort of lock into that, oh, I'm part of that. I'm part of this ever improving and ever changing and growing planet. Then it really opens up so many possibilities that we cannot see from a mental
I,
human
I
point of
I
view.
I could tell you personally where, I feel that for the past couple of years I've gone through so many hardships, and it's helped me evolve. At the moment I didn't see it that way. At the moment I was crying, I was falling apart, and I did start implementing a system of gratitude and asking for help and talking to spirit guides where felt like a crazy person, to be honest with you, at times, because I was like, what am I doing? And the more that I don't resist and surrender, the more that I'm just like, why am I so afraid of letting go?
Yeah,
Because the opportunities are just endless sometimes when I'm
right.
not resisting and going against the flow of whatever path I'm supposed to be taking in. So, with that being said, we live in a world of instant gratification, which is what we were talking about earlier. And you talk a lot about divine timing. Um, but how do we get to that point of surrendering? It's so
Ah,
difficult for us when we're stuck in our ego and we get a divorce, one of our loved one passes away, and from a human perspective, we don't understand it.
yeah,
So how do you surrender to that pain so that it opens up that path that you're supposed to walk through?
right. Well, the first thing to realize is that you are made up of four bodies. You have the mental body, the physical body, you have the energetic body, and the emotional body. So, just like we're talking about, it's not all one dimension, you're not all one being. You're actually four beings kind of layered on top of each other. And those experiences can conflict. Like if you're feeling pain from a divorce or whatever it is, you're feeling a lot emotionally, but then your mind is sort of layering on these stories, narratives, and things that are designed to protect you from a survival standpoint that really conflict. That's when we get that cognitive dissonance
Mhm.
with the feelings, right? So the first thing to do is in any situation, no matter what it is, to bring compassion to yourself as that being and to say, okay, I am a human being who has these emotions, also this mental stuff going on, also this physical, also this spirit, energetic. And this is really hard. And so I'm going to bring myself compassion and love, number one, because that's something we're not really trained to do. We're trained to give everybody else compassion,
So true.
people in general. But we don't realize as children, at some point, when the ego intervenes, it builds a story that says everybody gets what you need except you. You give it away. So if you're a person who becomes really good at, let's say, bringing order to a situation, you learn, okay, my gift is I bring order to everybody else's world. Well, there's always an asterisk, except me, except mine. That's why when you see, like, you can see someone who's so gifted at coming in and making everything make sense. And then you look and you're like, oh my God, they have chaos like in their own selves, because we have this lens that says we're not allowed to have what we need, what we need most, our ego tells us to give away and not receive. So it's number one is give yourself the grace of just letting yourself receive the basic compassion of this is a hard thing and I'm going through it on many levels. And so let me give myself that. Then, second, you can start asking, what is this situation showing me?
Mhm.
And how might it be serving me? Not that it's like definitely for my good, because we can't see that when it's something awful, but
Right.
how might it be? How might it be? And if we can't see it, that's when it's really good to start asking for that help and say, please show me how, because I really can't see. Um, there's a little mantra that my guides gave to me years ago. I actually made it into a little temporary tattoo and had lots printed because it helped me so much. Um, and I'll probably get a real tattoo of it one day, but it's
Yes.
it's 10 words, which are I don't know, please show me. You can either say I'm ready or I surrender and thank you. When you say those 10 words, it moves the mind out of the way in this miraculous way because the mind is always going, I need to figure it out. If I
Control. We want control.
right, control, I need to know. But if you say I don't know, it gives the mind the message, hey, we're not supposed to figure it out. And then next, please show me. That opens up that door for your guides to come in because they really, guides and angels cannot and aren't supposed to intervene unless we ask because that's part of free will. It's like you can do whatever you want, and we're only going to help if you invite us and ask us to help. They might intervene, like, if they know, like, okay, this is a
Yeah.
life-saving thing,
Yeah,
but
yeah. She's
yeah,
gonna die if we don't
right.
if we don't intervene right now.
Right. But with free will, it's like, you gotta ask. So please show me. And then I'm ready or I surrender, whichever feels best to you. Sometimes I'm ready is like, well, I'm not ready. Okay, I surrender. I'm giving in to what needs to happen. And then finally, thank you, because gratitude does open up everything. It is sort of accepting that given that I know you're helping me. Because if we come into our relationship with higher wisdom, with those guides from a skeptical place, a not trusting place, or an I'm not worthy place, and we're kind of like, prove it to me, then they're going to be like, ooh, she needs a little more time to ripen. He needs a little more time to see that we're here. Sometimes the only way to surrender is hitting rock bottom, and that's hard.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that really I feel helped me a lot was learning to forgive myself.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
like saying like it's okay.
That you're not perfect.
I'm
That
not
you're not,
perfect
yeah.
and neither is anybody else,
Right.
and kind of like trying to not pay attention so much to the judgment of others,
Yeah.
because everybody's just self-reflecting their perspective of what they're feeling within themselves. And it took me a minute, it really did. And part of that healing journey for me was creating this podcast and speaking to amazing individuals like you. It really helped me a lot to understand that I'm not alone. I'm not the only one feeling this way.
Well, and you're doing such an important mission here by connecting people with their possibilities and their different tools and resources and understanding that this is not something that is only for special people and can only be accessed if you're born with it. It is a sense that we can all develop.
Are we
And
not all born with these gifts?
we are all born with the ability to tap in to our extra other senses, the extra sensors, senses,
Mhm.
the ESP. We're all born with that potential, but our individual soul journeys and our other traits. Like, do I have a very sort of rigid mind or do I have an open mind? Has my life's journey lent itself to me being open to this, or is this lifetime just about me learning to survive on the physical plane?
Right.
Sometimes our mission in this life is just not, it's not really designed for us to tap into that.
Yeah.
But everyone does have the ability. Yes.
With someone like myself, for example, that I do feel intuitively connected, maybe a little more than others, but I don't hear anyone. I don't see anyone. You know what I mean? I don't have that gift as profoundly developed as you do. So when I'm contacting and or when I'm communicating, how do I know that it's not my own voice and my own thoughts? Like, how do you distinguish that it is actually your spirit guide or God or
Right.
whatever you want to believe, of
Yeah.
higher frequency vibration and love that's communicating with you to try to help you?
Right. Well, it's a really annoying answer because it is, you just know. It's like love. How do you know when you're in love? It's like you just know because it is actually the same thing. It's
Hmm.
connecting with that thing that connects us all. So, you just know, you just feel it. Now, the self-questioning is what drives a wedge. So it is very human to doubt. It's just like me with the cards going, this can't be, I don't know. And,
Right. And
you
then you're
know,
getting seven of them back to
yes,
back.
yes, just
That's
working
incredible.
your,
That's a great
yeah.
story.
I still remember every moment of that story, and it was on the bathroom floor just pulling those cards. But really the key is to practice not doubting, to
Yeah.
practice going, well, I'm going to go with this as it if it is my guidance and see what happens. So it's like sort of acting as if, see what happens. And typically, you're going to get a whole bunch of confirmation,
Right.
by the way you feel, by what happens, by miracles that open up. You're like, oh, well, that was my guidance. But there is no way to really know until you follow through with following it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the hard part. That's the leap of faith part.
Right. Right. Yeah, you're right. It's just, applying whatever feels right at the moment and seeing what results you're getting from it. If it's in your greatest, highest good, that's them.
Right.
Right? Like keep
And
listening.
here's one little trick you can use if you're like, I truly don't know if this is intuition or fear. What you can do is say, or thought, what you can do is say, okay, first, does it put me in my head? If it puts you in your head with repetitive thoughts, obsessive thoughts, or doubt, self-doubt, then it's probably just thought. And you're probably just setting yourself on sort of a wild goose chase of thought. Because guidance feels quiet and it feels kind of neck down. You feel it in your body, in your heart. It is very calm, even if it's something difficult. Like, I know it's time to quit this job. That's a very calm knowing. But if you're like, should I quit this job? I don't know. But what if I don't? But what if it? Then you're in your head and you still have things to kind of work through and learn from the situation,
Okay.
even if it's not fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you know is, the guidance, if you leave it alone, if you're like, well, probably not supposed to quit my job, so never mind. It will keep surfacing. It will keep coming up. A week later, you'll be like, here I am again at this job quitting question. That's guidance because it's like gonna keep on tapping you on the shoulder.
Until you pay attention, until you
Yeah,
listen.
you pay attention. So you could try ignoring it, then you'll know if it's guidance.
Yeah, right. We're all physical beings, but we're also energetic. Yet we have so much blocked energy sometimes, and we do that harmfully to ourselves. So, what are some techniques or suggestions that you can offer to help us kind of like release all this blocked energy that we can have within? You can have a pain, and it's literally a blocked energy.
Yes. So also first knowing this is not necessarily my fault because a lot of it can come from ancestral wounds that you've inherited. We do have, spiritual DNA, so we can inherit things that just come with the bloodline in a way. And it's our job to move through whatever layer of healing we can with that to pass on less of it. Also, keep in mind, you probably have had previous lifetimes where you went through things that need to be healed. And then knowing also that some of those blockages have come from what you subconsciously learned or were indirectly told about yourself and
Mhm.
your own role in this lifetime, and that was based on mostly the fears and lenses of others. So, first knowing if I have a block, it's not like I'm just like, ugh, don't be frustrated with yourself because it's not like you're doing anything wrong. We all have these things. It's like being in a body. We all have things. Oh, I inherited a weaker heart, or, whatever it is. You just got to kind of work with that. But the best thing to do when you do feel something in your body that you're right is always indicating something energetically is to say to our body first, hey, body, I know you're not wrong. That has opened up a world of healing to me because I would have things recur in my body like headaches. And when I started saying to my body, hey, I know you're not wrong. I know you're correct. What are you trying to show me? What do you need? Just talking to your body that way, that can move blockages in itself.
Okay.
Because we are conditioned in our culture to just be like, my body needs to be, you know, tamed and whipped into submission and medicated and changed. And
It's awful. It's
yeah,
awful.
we have a very adversarial relationship with our bodies in this part of the world. And to just say to it, hey, let's call a truce. I'm going to sort of earn your trust. I know we're partners in this. What are you trying to show me? You're not wrong. And then listening, okay, what do I need? What do I need? Okay, well, if it's in my head, it's probably something to do with my mind. My mind is probably working too hard. Let me, rest. Let me stop thinking so much. Let me see how that feels.
Meditate, go for a walk.
Yeah. And then if it is your body, keeping in mind that the physical plane is the densest plane, so it's going to take a bit more time. You can
Hmm.
address what your body needs, but it's going to take a minute to reach your body. So try to be patient with your body. And with energy blocks, like for example, when I'm connecting with someone in a reading and I can sense that there's a throat chakra blockage, there's something they're not speaking. I can feel that in my throat and it'll make me cough or throat close up. That's an energy block. That's not, they're not having throat pain. So we can feel into that by saying, all right, there is a blockage here in the throat. Let's set the intention that we're asking for divine healing to help move this. Because if it's just energy, then only energy help can work with it.
Right.
So that's when you might get into some Reiki
Right.
healing or just directly asking angels to help. That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you personally stay connected to your divine self on a daily basis, practicing,
Mhm.
tarot and speaking to so many different energies where you're trying to help them? I would imagine that can take a toll on you.
In the beginning, it does. When you're first practicing and getting your bearings, it does. It's like anything with more practice, you learn to sort of pace yourself and you learn the most important thing is I'm not doing this, spirit's doing it. So just to make yourself sort of an open channel so that you're not actually taking on a load energetically. So if I'm working with someone and receiving guidance and giving it to them and helping them through healing, I've set the intention. I'm not going to absorb this. This is not mine. Not taking it on. And I'm not also not allowing the ego to go, it's my job to enlighten or fix them. It's like, no, spirit's using this situation to do whatever
Right.
be done. The way I stay connected personally, like in my human life, uh, just being a person in the world and trying to, because I've got all the, you can hear all the messages you want, but if you're living a human life, you're going to struggle and you're going to have challenges. So I just try to pay very close attention to what is this showing me right now. So if I'm frustrated with someone, if I'm going through something difficult, I just try to be curious.
The lesson and the
Yeah.
experience.
And just even the reflection, if you are engaging with someone and they're super angry and you are coming across and you're somehow locked in this with them,
Hmm.
you can bet they're reflecting something within you.
Yeah.
And so to sort of say, okay, if they were a mirror, and if I was looking in the mirror and seeing this anger,
Yes.
what would I be angry about inside? And how might we be reflecting and projecting this to each other?
Yeah, I believe it's easier said than done, but I believe that if we can all get to a point where anything that happens in our life, both positive, but obviously the negative, if we can really look at it and just say, from that perspective of like, what is this teaching me?
Yeah.
Every moment you will look at life completely different. You won't stress out. You're going to know that everything's always going to work out in your greatest, highest good. But it's so hard to get to that point of faith and
Oh,
surrender,
yeah.
you know?
I will say you won't stress out as much. I think every human, even Eckhart Tolle,
I love him.
stressful moments. I believe,
Yeah.
but it's just you get quicker and quicker and quicker at catching it
Hmm.
and going, oh, let me self-correct. Oh, let me balance out.
Right.
I
Right.
think the key to so much is learning to balance. And when you're balancing, you're not just standing there. It's like driving. You got to move a little bit back and
Yeah.
forth, not just get it or you veer off the road. It's that little micro corrections, little micro adjustments where you're
Hmm.
like, oh, that rubbed me for a minute. I'm going to feel into it in real time and adjust. And hey, as long as you're kind of catching it 75, 80% of the time, you're great.
Yeah.
Don't go for 100, go for most of
Right.
the, that you're noticing these things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel that for sure. How did you learn tarot? Was it self-taught 100%? Did you take courses? Did somebody teach you?
It was very organic with just playing with it, but I did learn most of what I know from tarot by watching other tarot readers. And of course, you can find a million YouTube channels out there, including mine, where you can watch tarot readings and learn. Oh, and then when you do that, you learn, oh, when this person pulls tarot cards, they add a little flavor to this card that the other one doesn't add. So as you read tarot, you start with the book, learn the traditional meanings or a class or whatever you want to do,
Right.
and then allow your own intuition to add layers. The reason we have umpteen different tarot decks in existence is because every way of depicting, the Five of Swords is going to look different in every deck. And you can feel into that. Wow, in this deck I'm looking at right now, there's black crows. And when I see black crows, I feel this and that. And oh, there's a little bit of blood down here. And wow, just really feeling into
In
every.
essence, whatever you're seeing when you
Yes.
pull the card, the story that you create in your head based on the feeling, what you're looking at, what you're sensing, that's what you are explaining to that person to see if it resonates with that energy, right?
Well, and yeah, if you're reading for yourself, you can just sort of explore that on your own. If if I was a guide and I was trying to send myself a message with this card, what might I be saying? And you don't even have to know tarot to do that. I mean, you can see this Two of Pentacles and say, well, she's trying to keep her balance. I wonder if Spirit's telling me I need to, or maybe Spirit's telling me I'm trying to, balance too much, and just feel
Right.
into what feels right for you.
Right. What is it answering within you when you read the card? Yeah.
Yeah. But
Uh,
certainly with tarot in particular, there is, a place to start that is like an alphabet that you can learn, and that does help. Mhm.
mhm. Yeah. What role does tarot play in helping people get clarity on their soul path?
Oh, I love that question. So tarot, there's a million ways you could, like I said, it's like the alphabet. So you can string those letters together in so many ways. If you are on your path right now and you're like, I just need a little clarity, I would recommend taking any card deck, tarot or oracle cards, and use a basic four card spread that my guides have shown me, and other readers might have been shown this as well, but um, I don't pay enough attention to know. So this four card spread would be, what is this showing me in my energy body, my physical body, my emotional body, and my mental body? And that will give you a really good perspective. So even if you're working with an oracle deck, which can be advantageous because they often have their meanings printed right there on them, and you don't have to learn anything. You can
Right.
just say, all right, what is it most important for me to know on my soul path, or at this point on my soul path, with my mental self, and pull one of that, with my physical self, with my spirit self, and with my emotional self. And that'll give you a ton of clarity right there. Mhm.
Do you believe that tarot is a divine tool or more of a mirror to the subconscious?
Oh, completely both. I believe that again, it's all about intention. You could pick up a tarot deck and say, I just want to see a reflection of my own energy, no guides involved. And you could definitely see that. It would depend on how much you trust, what your own higher wisdom, because at that point, when we're pulling cards, we're trusting our higher wisdom, which knows every card in this deck and knows which one it wants to pull. When you turn it over to your guide team, you're saying, all right, you show me what you want me to know. So you're basically asking two different questions. With any form of divination, whether it's cards, pendulum, scrying, smoke, whatever you're doing, you are asking a question. And it's important that you pay attention to the question that you're asking, and is it really what you want to know? Is it really the question that will serve you the most?
Yeah.
So often, if you're not getting the answer you want, or that makes sense to you, it can really help to look at how you're asking the question.
When you pull tarot for yourself, if you want to do a self reading, for example, for you, do you do that on a daily basis in the morning to get some kind of answers or only when you're feeling stuck? And how do you do that for yourself? Because
This,
I bought a tarot deck and I bought an oracle deck about 2 years ago. I've had them locked away. It's, you know how I relocated to Orlando from Miami with my daughter. Okay. Complete life change. I went with the flow, right? I'm here. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here. Anyway, my point is that when I was moving, I was giving everything away. I was just like, I want a fresh start. I want to start from scratch. And I started giving everything, furniture, clothes, shoes, and part of what I gave away with all my books was my tarot cards and my oracle cards.
Oh no.
When I got here, it was still it was within all my things. It never left me. They
Woo,
picked up everything but the tarots.
that's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
And then at that point, I have them away in kind of like a little toy section that we have here that we play games, my daughter and I. And I was like, okay, I'm not meant to get rid of these yet, you
Yeah,
know?
your guides were like, no, we're gonna hold on to that. We're gonna let
Yeah,
her know. Oh, I love that.
yeah.
I love it. And I want to mention too with cards, a lot of people who were raised in religious constructs, which I was not, they have mental blocks to it. It can be so that's something else to take a look at. If there's any fear or any self-judgment or any,
Yes.
sometimes people receiving a reading will say, you know, I'm Christian, is this okay? And it's like, absolutely, we're connecting with, the Christ energy as a guide as well. So again, all about intention. So just setting that intention that,
Yeah. Intention is everything. Yeah, I grew up Catholic.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the devil's toy,
Right.
you
It can get
know?
very tricky in your mind of what, yeah. So, if you've got fear around pulling tarot, I don't recommend doing it because you're going to bring that fear into
It's
your
not
reading.
fear. I just got to a point where I felt like
Yeah.
I was going a little kooky reading
Yeah.
for myself, you
Right.
know?
I do that
Um,
too. I can get in my head too when I'm pulling cards and going, okay, I really want to know about this situation. So I have learned to do that less for myself, and do more of what you were saying. Just what is the situation
yeah, just
and
for
show me.
some clarity. So
Yeah.
we're in for a treat if you're still open to doing it, where you were gonna pull cards from me.
Right.
If you're feeling it, if you want to do it.
I'd be
Um,
absolutely honored. Let's do
so we
it.
can show our viewers,
Yeah.
what you offer and how you work, and to see if the energy matches. I like to connect people with the right people, right? And
Absolutely. And please, if you have questions or something doesn't resonate, let me know. Okay, so we are just shuffling this tarot deck, which is the Crystal Visions Tarot, based on it was inspired by Stevie Nicks and her Crystal Visions lyrics.
oh
So
my God, I love what you just said. I'm in the middle of negotiating a podcast right now for lyrics. I'm telling you, they're communicating nonstop.
and let me tell you how wild that is. I just got tingles when you said that. And this deck that I'm using for you is not the deck I've been using in general. I was guided to pull it out for you. So, this lyrical, it's the only deck I have that's based on lyrics. So there
Crazy.
you go. That's for you
Crazy.
already.
I have goosebumps all over right
There
now.
you go.
I love
So
it.
you've got the Wheel of Fortune first. Now, the Wheel of Fortune talks about a destined moment, divine timing. It's letting you know that it is time now for something to happen. You already probably have felt this divine moment arrive because usually the first card out is when they're showing me to give me a sense of what you have just sort of realized, come into. So you've already realized it's time. And next you have this emperor, and the emperor is all about um, confidence. It is a masculine energy. So it's very confident leadership. It's very much about, all right, I'm ready to step into this. Okay. Now I see some question within yourself, and this is showing up as a feminine wound. We have wounds that come from our feminine lineage and our masculine lineage. This one comes from your feminine lineage, and it's about your sense of having to fight for your worth. There's this sense of every time I step into my worth, which is represented by the Queen of Pentacles here, she knows she's worthy, she knows she's worth it. And every time you step into this in the past, you have felt the sense of having to fight for it. It's that Five of Swords where somebody's stabbing you, fighting you. Somebody's just not wanting to let you pass, not wanting to let you keep going. However, you now are very in tune with your path in the sense that you're really trusting your guidance. The Fool says, I'm trusting where I'm being led. I know 100% that I'm being led in this direction. And so when you feel that sense of something is fighting me on my worth, and in this case, it's like someone doesn't want to give me what I'm worth. And this could even be in relationship. It's like someone's not wanting to match me in my worth. Now, when you feel that energy, you're turning it over to spirit because you're saying, I'm not going to fight that battle. I'm not going to sit here and try to prove to you what my worth is. If you're going to, not acknowledge that, and if you're not going to meet me in it, then okay. I am actually seeing for you, maybe TMI for the podcast, but it does look like a relationship connection. That Two of Cups represents, a relationship connection. And when we get these lessons in relationships, as you know, it is often about we've made an agreement as souls to sort of help each other learn. Yeah. So
Correct.
this person has helped you step into your worth, even though it feels like they're battling you on it, because Lord knows they can't hold you back. Lord
Right.
knows you're stepping into it anyway. Because if they had sort of met you a while back in it, you might not have scrapped so hard to come into it yourself. So now I'm going to ask for action steps for you, next action steps moving forward. And I'm just shuffling, moving the cards around. Everybody has their own style of doing that you just sort of practice and come into. And I'm seeing for your next steps, strength. The strength card invites you to lean on spirit. It's reminding you that, hey, this is not something you're supposed to gut out on your own. We are not interested in seeing how strong, Monica can be. We already know she's strong. Lean on us. It's leaning on spirit, represented here as the lion. Don't try to do everything alone anymore, even though your mind is going to be like, no, I'm on my own. No, you're not. So then you have this choice point that I see you coming into, where the choice you are making is to go ahead and move forward on your path, knowing that everything that's right for you is coming in, and knowing, most importantly, that divine justice is happening. When justice shows up, it's like, oh, spirit's got the scales and spirit's balancing it out. That means I don't need to worry, is this person or situation gonna get it? They're gonna get it. They're going to realize what they need to realize, and you are being used to help them do that. So you have surrender to what is. This is an oracle card from the Power of Surrender deck. When it surrender to what is, it's like, I'm done trying to make it something else. I'm done trying to control the situation. And I'm done also trying to make reality what my mind would like it to be.
Right.
It is exactly what it is, and I'm going to find a whole bunch of power in that. You also have this about boundaries, set limits, where you're saying, you know what? If something feels like conflict to me, if something feels like a fight to me, I'm simply not going to engage in it.
That is so me
Because
right now. I'm just
because
like, I'm
you're
not having
protecting
it.
your peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're protecting your peace, and you're saying, you know, Spirit has told me that I don't have to fight anymore, and I'm not gonna. So you don't have to. And now you're seeing that every time you choose peace, things are working out for you.
Hmm. So
Is that
true.
you can trust the truth. This is an oracle deck that I created. This is mine, called the
Oh,
Oracle of
so
the
I was
Mystic.
going to ask you, do you have your own personal deck?
Called Oracle of the Mystic, and it's um it's my own, and it
Oh, I
has a
love it. And it's on your on your webpage?
yes, it is.
Okay.
Thank
I'm
you.
so going to support you and get one.
You. I would love that. So this one says trust the truth. And when you do, all things that are brought to light are actually going to bring beauty into your life, coming out of those shadows and into a place of, oh, I see when I'm working with what is instead of trying to change it, then the best can show up for me. I'm seeing that actually, specifically, love is coming in for you in a whole new way. This is a higher version of love. It is divine partnership. So the more you let go of everything that doesn't feel like that, the more the true, divine unconditional divine love is coming in because you're not setting any conditions on yourself. in the past, it was I have to fight to get my worth, I have to fight to receive love. And now you're dropping that condition on yourself. And Spirit's like, oh, hallelujah. Now we can bring in divine partnership for her. We can lift her to all new heights of just receiving effortlessly. And I can't wait to see how this shows up for you. It's very exciting.
Well, I will tell you that one of the things that I try to do on a daily basis when I'm, saying my gratitude, and speaking to my spirit guides is I always say, please continue to remove everyone that is not meant to be in my life, all the wrong ones out, so that I have the room to receive the right ones,
Well,
right?
yeah, yes, and you can even fine tune that a little bit by shifting from the context from the people to the energies. Because when you say, like for instance, the energy that showed up that you're releasing is this energy of having to fight and have conflict and have drama in order to get what you are worthy of. You're releasing that energy no matter who it shows up through, yourself, anybody else. You're like, I'm done with that. View it that way rather than a person, because as we know, spirit's always making miracles and transformations happen, and we don't know who
I
or,
got you.
who knows. So let go of the people part and move more into the
Or
I'm
it's
letting
me.
go energy part. Right.
Hmm.
And I don't want this energy to show up anymore. I'm not consenting to it with anyone. That leaves open possibilities of you being really surprised by new energies coming through in ways you might not have anticipated, or your mind might have said it can never happen because we just don't know.
Right.
So, and at the same time, it doesn't open you up to going through the same cycles over again because you're like, no, I recognize it.
And as you say that, surrender to divine timing.
Exactly. So you're on the right track. You are releasing everything that's not healthy for you, mostly that drama stuff.
Yeah.
And you're stepping
Oh,
into
and there was a lot of that, girlfriend.
and you know what the biggest enemy of drama is? The biggest squasher of drama is just truth. Just truth.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know, truth is I want peace. Truth is I'm worthy of it. Truth is spirit's bringing it in and I'm ready to receive it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, India, I know that you're super pressed for time because you had a class coming up now, and we're hitting the hour mark. So I want to thank you for speaking with
Thank
me.
you. Thank you.
This has been an amazing podcast. I've never gotten a reading before. I've never asked for one. So just so that
That's
you know.
such an honor. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's a little personal, but you know what? As long, why not? Like, if I'm gonna do this, let's be as authentic as I
Well,
can.
and that's the thing about guides, you never know what they're going to say. So, you
Yeah.
just got to let it come through. And anytime you want to go deeper, let me know. We can go
Yeah.
into astrology, whatever you want.
So how can our viewers contact you?
Yes, they can go to my website, indialeigh.com, and that's Leigh, and, or Instagram at Intuitive India Leigh.
Okay. And you are on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and your YouTube channel is?
India Leigh.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so in the comment section, once I post this podcast today, I'm going to go ahead and add all your links so that to make it easier for everybody to reach you.
Thank
But
you
thank you
so
so
much.
much. I want to thank everyone for watching um, India. And this amazing information that you've shared with us today. Please continue to tune into our podcast at the Bear Experiment. Please hit the notification bell. Help us by subscribing. We really appreciate your support. And we want to keep bringing amazing guests like India to our show. So thank you guys all. I love you all. Thank you, India. You've been amazing. I love your energy. And I'll share everything with you as soon as I post it, okay?
Thank you. See you soon.
Okay, honey. Bye bye.